Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to continue, and thanks to our second panel for being with us this afternoon. I want to build off my questioning that I began in the first panel. My legislation, the Strengthening American Nuclear Competitiveness Act, directs the NRC to submit a report on licensing requirements for non-electric applications and advanced manufacturing. Mr. Merrifield, can you please explain why preparing for licensing of advanced nuclear for non-electric applications is a good use of the agency's time?
There's going to be a significant wave of non-utilities who are going to seek advanced reactor technologies to decarbonize difficult-to-deal issues such as steel making, aluminum, chemical manufacturing. We've seen this with announcements with companies like Nucor and Dow seeking to evaluate advanced reactor technologies. So this is an area I think the agency is going to have to spend some time. I think it can do it effectively, and I think that these types of technologies can be appropriately deployed in support of those efforts. I would want to make one note about your bill, Section 4, regarding removing some of the prohibitions on the Atomic Energy Act regarding foreign ownership. I testified in front of this committee as a commissioner back in the 2000s in support of that type of change, and certainly would want to reinforce that in what you're trying to do.
Okay, well, thank you. And next, my legislation seeks to strengthen U.S. global competitiveness by reviewing our current export capabilities, improving export processes, and encouraging coordination with our allies to increase deployment of new commercial nuclear energy technologies. So again, Mr. Merrifield and Ms. Korsnick, I'd like to hear from both of you on this. Ms. Korsnick, I'd let you go first. How important is it to the global nuclear market that the United States works with its allies and also with countries like China and Russia rushing to deploy civilian nuclear around the globe, giving them a century-long foothold in a given area? Why is it important for the U.S. to be able to export its own civilian commercial nuclear technology abroad? Ms. Korsnick, you go first.
Well, it's critical to our national security, I would argue, that we absolutely want to be supporting countries around the globe and helping and support them with their energy supply. I think we've all watched Russia cut off gas to Europe and watch how they manage when they are in control of your energy supply. And I think we should take strong note of that. And it wouldn't be any different if they had built a nuclear plant in some of these countries, and they would be also able to turn that off. And so I think doing business with the United States, with our allies, is precious. And I think it's very important that we take that leadership role. I would point out that a Russian reactor just started up in Egypt. I believe one just started up in Pakistan. So when we say that there's this potential, it's not a potential, it's happening. Yeah, and that's why we need the United States to really be very relevant and support our allies.
I agree, and I think most people don't understand that when a country like Russia or China gets their foot in the door in another country providing nuclear capability, they're in there for upwards of 100 years. I mean, they got to build a plant, they got to operate it, they got to maintain it, they got to update it, and they're there to stay. Mr. Merrifield.
Yeah, Congressman, you put your finger on it. These are 100-year relationships to build, and so it's vital that we be there and have an alternative. I think the advanced reactor technologies that we're talking about today provide us an opportunity to retake that lead. We have some game-changing technologies that we're going to be deploying, and those are going to really allow us to take that flag abroad. Okay. Having said that, I think we also need to talk about our Canadian and UK friends who can be collaborative. This is an international arena. None of the plants that we build today can be built with entirely U.S. parts, but I think we need to be focused on our allies and working to try to win more market share.
Let me move quickly. I've got one more question. I want to address my legislation's extension of Price-Anderson out to 2065. Again, Ms. Korsnick, I'll start with you. Can you explain why Price-Anderson has been important to America's nuclear industry and why it would be important to extend it 40 more years, especially with advanced reactors and small modular reactors on the way?
Absolutely. It's very critical. I would just say in straightforward terms, it provides a framework within the insurance agents, insurance companies can work to allow us to appropriately insure. The second place is it then requires the rest of the nuclear energy industry to contribute. So it creates an indemnification framework that allows us to manage risk. And without one, you wouldn't have the industry that you have today. And we just need to continue this framework. You mentioned for a length of time, I'd love a lifetime extension. So yeah, it's absolutely critical.
It's going to be almost as hard as getting insurance on an electric vehicle, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I'm seeing that.